Yeah.
He it down.
He sure did.
I seen it in her eyes.
You saw it in her eyes.
Tupac didn't just do that. He also wrote a love letter from prison that sold for 6 figures. From Eminem, who turned a teen pop star's crush into a 20-year war, to Kanye, who waited 10 years through her other relationships. These rappers met their crushes, music, and lost their minds. And what this last one did will shock you. Buckle up. Music. Let's get into it. Eminem. Back in 1999, Christina Aguilera was 18 years old, fresh off her debut album hitting #1. And she had a little crush, a small harmless crush on the biggest new rapper in America.
I'm looking forward to meeting Eminem, actually.
You want to meet Eminem?
Yeah, I want to meet Eminem. I think he's cute.
And Eminem, he felt the same way. After winning at the 1999 MTV Europe Music Awards, he kept a poster of her and said he thought she was cute, too. It was mutual. It was sweet. It was the kind of celebrity flirtation that gossip magazines lived for back then. Then everything fell apart in early 2000. On her MTV special, What a Girl Wants, Christina mentioned hearing rumors Eminem had secretly married Kim. And she pointed out the disturbing lyrics on his song 97 Bonnie and Clyde, the one where he raps about killing his baby's mother.
And it's kind of like aggravating to listen to, you know what I mean? It's really, I don't know, some of his albums kind of disturbing a little bit.
She wasn't even attacking him. She was a teenage girl raising a concern about domestic violence. But Eminem took it personally, real personally.
I was like, no, you didn't just say that, you little b****. And then she said, yeah, and you know, doesn't he have a song about his baby's mother?
Months later, he dropped the real Slim Shady, and the entire world heard him fire back at her. He called her a little on wax. He accused her of giving him an STD. He turned her into a blow-up doll in the music video. Music, didn't stop there. On the track Off the Wall with Redman, he rapped about grabbing her by the hair and dragging her across the Sahara. Then came an entire animated web series episode mocking her as Christina Aguilera. The feud dragged on for almost 2 decades. Even in 2018, Eminem brought her name up again on his kickoff freestyle, and Christina, finally tired, gave her verdict on Watch What Happens Live. Yeah, I mean that's real thirsty. I don't know what's going on. That a teenage crush turned into 18 years of misogynistic public war. That's how far Eminem went. Drake met Rihanna in 2005 when she filmed Pon de Replay in Toronto. He was a kid in the background. She was already a star. And from that moment forward, the man could not let her go. By 2009, they were spotted making out at Lucky Strike Bowling Alley in NYC right after her split from Chris Brown. Drake immortalized that night on his song, Fireworks, rapping about feeling like a pawn after she showed him quality time, then disappeared. That should have been the end. It wasn't. It was barely the beginning. Over the next 15 years, Drake referenced Rihanna across album after album. What's My Name, Take Care, Marvin's Room, The Ride. Every era of his career had a Rihanna chapter buried somewhere inside it. The collaborations were steamy, the live performances were charged, and the rumors of on and off dating peaked through 2012. Then came the 2016 MTV VMAs, where Drake presented Rihanna with a Video Vanguard Award and stood on stage in front of millions and said he'd been in love with her since he was 22 years old. He kissed her. The internet melted down. And Rihanna, she politely walked away. A year later, music. She told Vogue they didn't have a friendship anymore, but weren't enemies either. She moved on. Drake didn't. By 2023, Rihanna was a mother of 2 with ASAP Music. Rocky, completely settled, completely happy. And Drake released For All the Dogs, where eagle-eared fans' music clocked subtle shots on tracks like Fear of Heights, lines that felt like they were aimed at her current relationship, and even her vacation spots in the Antilles, a clear reference to Barbados. A man writing about a woman 20 years after they barely dated while she's raising kids with someone else isn't romance. It's a fixation that built him an entire discography. Kanye West. Kanye West fell music for Kim Kardashian before Kim Kardashian was even Kim Kardashian. He saw a photo of her standing next to Paris Hilton in the early 2000s when Kim was just a stylist working for Brandy, and he was done. He told the world later he wanted to marry that girl from the moment he saw her face.
Yeah, I mean that's real thirsty. I don't know what's going on.
That's the thing. Kanye was waiting. He was actually waiting. Through Reggie Bush, music, through Chris Humphries, through every relationship Kim went through, he stayed close as a friend, kept his eyes on the prize, and bided his time.
I wanted to marry that girl from the first time I saw her, and I just had to wait through a bunch of relationships to finally get my chance.
Wrote a poem for her while she was married to someone else. That poem became the lyrics to Lost in a World off My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. When he finally got his chance in 2012, he didn't waste it. He proposed at a baseball field on her birthday with a full orchestra and a 15-carat ring. He built the Kimmy Empire. He folded their entire relationship into reality, music, TV. He turned a decade of patience into a global media circus. But here's the thing about waiting that long for someone. It doesn't always, music, end well. By 2025, Kanye was on livestream saying he wished he'd had babies with Paris Hilton, music, instead of Kim because of the Hilton family money. The man who pined for nearly 10 years was suddenly rewriting history out loud. That's what happens when admiration becomes obsession. The line between love and fixation just keeps getting thinner. Tupac Shakur. In the mid-90s, Tupac and Madonna were dating quietly, music, secretly. Nobody knew until Madonna finally confirmed it on Howard Stern years later. And the relationship, by all accounts, was intense. E40 has a story about it. He says one night Tupac pulled up to Saturday Night Live with weed for him and Madonna in the passenger seat.
I can only express it in songs like Lost in the World. I wrote like this poem to her and it ended up being the lyrics for Lost in the World.
That's the kind of love it was. Wild, public, but not loaded with attitude on both ends. Music. But the real proof of how deep Tupac's feelings ran came in January 1995 when he was locked up at Clinton Correctional Facility. At 4:30 in the morning, he sat down music and wrote Madonna a 3-page handwritten letter apologizing for ending the relationship and explaining why. The letter is heavy. He wrote about how the effects of racism made it difficult for a young black man to properly show affection for an older white woman. He apologized for his behavior. He warned her about dangerous people in her circle. He even asked her to come visit him in prison so they could talk face to face. Years later, the letter ended up at auction. Madonna tried to block the sale citing privacy concerns, but failed. Music. The letter sold for a high 6-figure sum. Think about the level of obsession it takes to write a 3-page music apology letter at 4:30 in the morning from inside a prison cell to a woman the entire world knows. That wasn't a casual breakup note. That was a man emotionally drowning in a relationship he couldn't fix. E40 saw it happen up close, and he says Madonna was hooked.
So he pulls up, but guess who he pulls up with?
Who?
Like a virgin.
No.
Fact took that intensity to his grave. The letter is now part of hip-hop history. Future and Ciara were the couple back in 2013. He proposed in Times Square. They had a baby together, Future Zahir, in May 2014. Music. It looked like the start of forever. It wasn't. By the end of 2014, the engagement was off and music. The split got nasty fast. Ciara accused Future of cheating with his stylist. Future denied everything and gave Entertainment Weekly his version of events, saying 95% of relationships end with cheating, but theirs had nothing to do with that. They just grew apart. Then he made the music. Tracks like Throwaway and Codeine Crazy off the Monster mixtape became coded breakup anthems with Future drowning his pain in lean. The toxic music rapper persona we all know today, it was born from that heartbreak. But here's where Future absolutely went too far. Ciara moved music on. She married Russell Wilson in 2016. She built a beautiful family with the NFL quarterback. By any normal standard, the story was over. Future should have moved on too. He didn't. Almost a decade after the split, in July 2023, Future hopped on the track Turn Music. Yo click up with Quavo and rapped a direct shot at Russell Wilson, a man who had nothing to do with their relationship and just happened to marry his ex. In a 2014 interview, Future Music actually claimed he'd manifested Ciara into his life 7 years before they met.
Yeah.
He it down.
He sure did.
I seen it in her eyes.
You saw it in her eyes.
I like 7 years of fixation before they even spoke, then a relationship, then a breakup, then nearly music, a decade of public shade. Future couldn't move on if his life depended on it. Ciara kept winning and he kept rapping about her husband. Meek Mill. Meek Mill was thirsty for Nicki Minaj before it was cool. We're talking 2010. He was tweeting at her, posting freestyles about her, and remixing Drake's Miss Me to say he hoped one day he could sleep with her just to say he hit it. Wide open, no filter, pure rapper thirst on full display. Music. By 2014, Nicki's long-term relationship with Safari had ended and Meek finally got his shot. They started dating. She put him on her album The Pink Print. He called her his fiancée in interviews. When Meek sat down with The Real, he laid out exactly how he felt about her, like she was his dream made flesh.
Everything I ever rapped about in my life came true. I like listened to all my old mixtapes as a kid and stuff like that. all the cars and stuff.
All the cars and stuff like, and in his own words, he had been speaking it into existence for years.
Don't get it wrong, I know all Nicki raps, even before I ever knew her.
Because
She be
was,
laughing when I be rapping her raps.
because she was your dream girl.
They were the hip-hop power couple for 2.5 years. Then in January 2017, Nicki went on Twitter and confirmed it was over. Single, focusing on work. What followed was years of one of the messiest post-breakup feuds hip-hop has ever seen. Cryptic Instagram shade, subtweets, a 2020 music verbal altercation in West Hollywood that got caught on camera, mutual accusations involving family members and serious allegations. The man went from publicly thirsting for her on Twitter for 4 years to dating her to being unable to let her go cleanly years after the relationship ended. Meek's whole arc with Nicki started as a fairy tale he manifested himself and ended as a cautionary tale about loving somebody too loud and losing them too publicly. Young Boy never broke again. In October 2020, NBA Young Boy dropped a freestyle called The Story of OJ Top Version, rapping over Jay-Z's beat. And on this freestyle, he didn't shoot his shot subtly, he shot it like a sniper. He rapped about wanting to convince Fee Music, his manager and a longtime Lil Wayne associate, to pass a message to Regina Carter, Lil Wayne's daughter, about the size of the deal it would be if they had a baby together. He even said he was serious though on the bar itself. The rumor mill went wild. The Breakfast Club broke down what was happening.
Me and Rock, we was riding and she was shooting a video on the curb and he was like, man, I know. I was like, dang, she look good, man.
It got messier when YFN Lucci, who'd been in an on and off relationship with Regine, clapped back hard.
In addition, it looks like he's shooting his shot at Regine.
I thought he was with Floyd Mayweather's daughter, right?
Young Boy didn't backpedal. He didn't soften the line. He left it sitting in the freestyle for all of hip-hop to dissect. A public, specific, unmistakable shot, music, at the daughter of a rap legend with her ex-boyfriend reacting in real time on Instagram. There's no record of Regine ever for directly. There's no relationship that grew from the music moment. It was just a young rapper from Baton Rouge using a viral freestyle to publicly state he wanted to start a family with somebody he barely knew on track where the whole world could hear it. Bold doesn't even begin to cover it. Yo Gotti. Most rappers who shoot their shot in a song get nothing back. Yo Gotti, he turned a hit single into an actual relationship. In late 2015, Yo Gotti dropped Down in the DM, a track that exploded on radio and the charts. Industry insiders and fans figured out fast that the song was aimed at one specific person, Angela Simmons, Music, daughter of Rev Run from Run DMC. The song wasn't subtle. It was an entire commercial single dressed up as a love letter. And here's the wild part, it worked. Angela noticed. They started dating shortly after. It was real, it was confirmed, and it played out in the public eye for a stretch. There's a moment from a Yo Gotti interview that captures the energy perfectly.
Just a clever line, but YFN Lucci didn't think so. And he actually posted, boy, a real bitch in person.
Is he still with Regine?
Angela actually called him in the middle of a recorded sit-down. She was on the line. He was deflecting. The chemistry was right there in real time.
I feel like it's, you want to take that? I feel like, yeah. Go ahead. This is, yeah, what up?
Hello?
I'm doing an interview right now.
The relationship eventually fizzled out, and Angela said in later interviews that the love was real, but they weren't aligned, that he might not have been ready. But for a brief window, Yo Gotti pulled off something most rappers can only dream of. He wrote a hit song for his crush, and the crush actually said yes. Roysta 5 feet 9 inches. Music. The 2011 BET Hip Hop Awards Shady 2.0 cipher is now legendary. Eminem, Roysta 5 feet 9 inches, Slaughterhouse, Music, and Yelawolf rapping over the Try by 12 instrumental in front of millions. And Roysta 5 feet 9 inches in the middle of verse, dropped 2 words that would dominate Twitter for over 20 hours. Hi Rihanna. That's it. That's all he said, followed by a quick line about how if she told him she loved his music again, they'd go together. Then a casual by Rihanna before he kept rapping. 2 words on a national stage in front of every rapper that mattered, aimed at the biggest pop star on earth. Twitter caught fire. The phrase Hi Rihanna trended for nearly a full day, and then the unthinkable happened. Rihanna herself replied, Hi at Roysta 5 feet 9 inches. Royce later told Vibe the line wasn't pure fantasy. He'd actually run into Rihanna at the V Festival in the UK, and she'd come up to him to say she liked one of his songs. The cipher line was him reaching back across distance and time to acknowledge that one moment, betting it would land. It landed harder than anyone could have predicted, music, and that's what makes it perfect. It wasn't a creepy lyric or a long-form fixation. It was confidence delivered in 2 syllables. A man telling the world, I see her, I respect her, and I'm not afraid to say it on the biggest stage in hip-hop. Royce shot his shot. Rihanna acknowledged it. The internet got the moment of the year, and nobody crossed any lines. That's how you do it. Drake. We already talked about Drake's 20-year Rihanna saga, but Drake doesn't have just one celebrity crush on his rap resume. He has a pattern, and in 2010, he dropped one of the most forward eye-popping crush bars in modern hip music hop history, aimed at his Young Money label mate Nicki Minaj. On the track Miss Me, from his debut album Thank Me Later, Drake rapped about loving Nicki, hoping one day they'd get married just to say they did it, and admitting he was serious if she was with it. Calling out how her verses turned him music on, and her pants were mighty fitted. That's a marriage proposal hidden inside a verse, on a debut album, to a label mate. Nicki has talked about the dynamic between them over the years on different shows. They've had their ups and downs, fallouts, music, and reconciliations, and she said Drake gave her some of the best advice of her career.
Okay.
Alright. It was Shorty.
Yeah, I wanted to say hi, but I was just...
Yeah, you should have.
I should have.
Yeah.
She's described their relationship like an old married couple, fighting and making up over and over.
What's your favorite Drake story? Like your favorite personal Drake story you can
Oh my
tell
God,
us?
how he's always mad at me over something. Drake is always mad at me.
Combine the Miss Me lyric with his Rihanna obsession and a clear pattern emerges. Drake doesn't just have crushes, he turns them into chart-topping art. He proposes in verses. Music. He pines and choruses. He builds entire songs around women he wants and can't have. Whether you find it romantic or relentless depends on which side of the speaker you're standing on. Megan Thee Stallion. The pattern of rappers shooting public shots at their crushes isn't a guy thing. Megan Thee Stallion proved that in October 2020 with one of her viral Megan Monday freestyle sessions. In the middle of the freestyle, Megan dropped a confident bar about not doing titles, but if she did date, it would be Michael. Just Michael. No last name. The internet had to figure out which one. Most fans landed on Michael B. Jordan, and honestly, the evidence stacks up.
He always finds a reason to not be my friends anymore. We're like an old married couple.
How many times have you guys fallen out?
A lot.
There were already public connections between them. They were both ambassadors for Coach. They'd been spotted together at New York Fashion Week. And after the shooting incident with Tory Lanez, Michael B. Jordan publicly tweeted his support for Megan and even sent her flowers. She thanked him on her Instagram story by calling him Waterhead, a nickname that suggests they actually knew each other beyond surface level.
She said, I'm a hot girl, I don't do titles. If I do date, it would be Michael. When she said that, I kind of stopped and said,
He even left flame emojis under her twerking videos.
He also sent Megan flowers as well, and Megan posted it on her story and said, thank you, Waterhead. So she's been giving him nicknames.
What makes Megan's shot different from the men on this list is how breezy it was. There was no obsession, no diss tracks, no years-long campaign, just a confident woman using a freestyle platform music to publicly declare her preference with the whole industry tuned in. The shot was fired, the internet caught it, and the buzz generated weeks of headlines. That's modern hip-hop crush culture in one bar. 50 Cent. Of every story on this list, 50 Cent's might be the most unexpected because it's not about a hip-hop diva or an actress in his age range. It's about Dame Helen Mirren, the legendary 70-something British actress. 50 Cent has been publicly declaring his crush on Helen Mirren for over a decade. On Conan, on Colbert, on Fallon, on every late-night couch he sat on. He calls her sexy forever. He jokes about being respectfully patient waiting for her husband to pass. In a 2018 Conan appearance, he laid out exactly why he'd fallen for her.
I've been peeping his comments under Megan's post. One time Megan posted this video of her and her friends twerking, and Michael dropped this emoji under her video like he was shook.
After seeing her in the south of France, he went into detail about the energy he felt even with her husband sitting nearby.
I just saw her in the south of France when we was out there, and she just looked at me, and this interesting thing was going on in her eyes.
When Conan suggested a hypothetical scenario where her husband died in a Zeppelin crash.
And she looks at you like she knows she's sexy, like in her mind. I'm like, you know, her husband's not far behind while she's doing this shit.
50 Cent stayed respectful, sort of. That's the whole bit, every time. Self-aware, light-hearted, and consistent over years. Unlike most stories on this list, 50 Cent's version of going too far is going too far with a joke, bringing it up so often on so many platforms that Helen Mirren herself has had to respond to it in her own interviews. It's a running gag that has refused to die. And a list full of diss tracks and prison letters and decades of public pining, 50 Cent's harmless, persistent comedy crush is honestly the most charming entry of the bunch. Click on one of the cards on your screen to see more videos like this.